We will call to order the special meeting, corporate authorities. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. All right, public comment. All questions and comments must be directed to the mayor. Each speaker may comment on topics on the special meeting agenda only. Each speaker will be allowed one opportunity to speak. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know.
I wanted to ask you a question about this board. My name is Amanda Meyer, 2110 215th Place. And I wanted to ask you about the water. My water bill is like $500.
Okay, I'm not saying that you cannot ask that question, but at this particular special meeting right now at 6:30, it's
Okay.
dealing with what's on the agenda.
Okay,
At the meeting at 7 o'clock, you can ask that question,
all right,
okay?
okay.
Any other questions? Okay, everyone had a chance, we talked about it last week, about hiring Baxter and Woodman as our consultant engineers for the logistics center. Does everyone know where the logistics center is located? I'm talking to the board now. And it's right there, going down Mark Collins Drive and right in front of WinPack. Everyone understand where that's located. Okay, what I need from the board is to accept Baxter and Woodman as our consultant engineer for this project that they'll be doing for Logistic Drive and WinPack Way. They're gonna be putting, well, they're not gonna, they're the engineers in charge of the project, and they'll be doing the final grade in that area, which will be just south of WinPack itself on the WinPack Way.
So this is to oversee and project manage the project?
Yes.
that we opened bids for last year?
Yes, it is.
I have a question. According to this, that you have tax, these are motor fuel tax funds. Can you tell me why motor fuel tax funds are being used for a TIP district? Instead of motor fuel tax funds, and this is being used.
Where you see motor fuel tax on?
I'm looking at page 105 on the proposal was sent at the top. Says motor fuel.
Okay, right here.
So what's the, right here,
I can't see that far, but what I'm doing,
what I got?
what I'm gonna do is, I understand, I understand. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let, Mr. Slattery, which is the engineer, back to Woodman, kind of go over it and let you know what is being used. It's not motor fuel tax, but you'll understand. This is some money that came back way back in 2004. So this is not used for that project, but I'm gonna let him explain it to you. You have a microphone?
So, but this is the
That is a TIF district, but the money being used for that WinPack Way and Logistic Drive is not TIF money. And it's not motor fuel tax. He's gonna explain it to you.
Okay. The money, the funding for the project is state funds. It's administered through IDOT. And it follows a motor fuel tax format. These are like boilerplate forms that the local roads bureau, similar to your MFT. This project was approved by the same people that do your motor fuel tax resurfacing programs or annual maintenance programs. So these are the forms we use.
This money was set aside back when all of this got started, through Jesse Jackson, Congressman Jackson. And this is the end of it. This is what's left, and this is what we're doing with it, is to put the final grade on that street. But this money has been in escrow for all that time. Well, the rest of it has been used, but this is all that's left, and that's what we're using it for that reason.
So, you saying this is IDOT money, this is not motor fuel tax money?
You saying IDOT? Yes, this is IDOT, yes.
Yes, state funds that are administered through IDA.
I'm just going by what I'm seeing.
Okay, no, I'm not, I didn't want you to confuse the two. It's not MFT. It's not IMFT. It's the money. This money's been in here for a while.
No, I understand.
Okay, but no, it's not MFT. MFT is not, like Mr. Slattery stated, it's used, it's the same format that we use to get our MFT, but this is something that was done way back when for that reason. And the reason why that grade was never put up, because it was still building. Any other questions? Now, I'll entertain a motion to accept Baxter and Woodman as our engineer on record for this project.
So moved.
Second. It was moved by trustee Todd and second by trustee Jones. Any questions? Madam Clerk?
Mr. Brewer? Yes. Grant? Jones?
Yes.
Tate?
Yes.
Todd?
Yes.
Zupan? Yes.
The motion is carried. Okay, the next item that we have is the repaving bid that was given. That was called off. We talked about it last week. Opened the bids for that, and the lowest bid is actually, and they qualified with Gallagher Asphalt for $177,606.31. So I will entertain a motion to have. Yes.
I'm sorry,
No, I mean, I haven't put it to motion yet, so, I mean, yes, you can. You have a question?
I was going to ask if Baxter and Woodman was recommended that we accept.
That's what you, yes, I'm sorry. This is their recommendation. You're absolutely right, yes. This is their recommendation that we go with Gallagher Asphalt in the amount of $177,606.31. Now, I'll entertain a motion to accept that bid.
So moved.
Second. Moved by trustee Todd, second by trustee Jones. Any questions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Grant? Jones?
Yes.
Tate?
Yes.
Todd? Yes. Zupan?
Yes.
Brewer? Yes.
Motion is carried. Okay. Any comments? I go around the, as you say, around the table, and if there's any comments from anybody right now pertaining to any of this that just went. Trustee Tate, you have any comments?
How often are you going to be overseeing or consulting on the project?
In the agreement, there's a list of hours on the last page of the agreement.
Did everyone get a copy of the agreement? We passed them out.
It's the one with the motor fuel tax.
Right, we passed it out. Okay, but it was passed out last week. Oh, okay. And it shows the scope of his duties, what he'll be doing, overseeing the whole project and be responsible for it.
I'll withdraw the question.
Okay.
Yes.
I have a
Trustee?
question.
Trustee Zupan first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You have anything?
I was just going to say, I didn't really see the agenda until yesterday after I had
Your agenda,
For entire package.
the entire
The
package?
entire package is first received, yes.
Well, I hate to say that, but, no, I'm just saying, we can find out, it's not hard to do. Okay. Yes, I'm trustee Brewer.
For this particular, agenda, I think it would behoove us to make it sort of clear. I asked the question about motor fuel tax form, even on the first page, it still indicates motor fuel tax form. How you said this is from previous, funds or whatever, but this clearly states one thing, and we're saying something else, and also Mr. Cleveland said something else too. So I'd like to make it clear, well, have information clear to us where the funding is coming from, you know, keep reference. Okay?
Trustee Todd?
I have nothing.
Trustee Jones? All right, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So, second.
It was moved by trustee, Zupan, second by trustee Todd. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposers? Motion carried. We'll start back up in about 17 minutes for the 7 o'clock meeting. Order. Order.
Trustee Brewer? Here. Trustee Grant? Supervisor Miller? Trustee Jones?
Here.
Trustee Tate?
Here.
Trustee Todd? Here. Trustee Zupan? Here.
Okay, we're not gonna have an executive session. We're gonna go right into public comment. All questions and comments shall be directed to the mayor. Each speaker may comment on any matter pertaining to the business of Sauk Village. Each speaker is allowed one opportunity to speak for up to 3 minutes and may not engage in debate. Please come up and then just give your name, go to give address, just your name for the record.
My name is Bernadine Hopkins. Let me see if I can read and talk. The basis for my questions and concerns relate specifically to the recent water rate increase. Please be aware, we the residents are not inexhaustible sources of revenue deserving of no explanation or consideration for various imposed actions. Excuse me. And my questions are as follows. Recently, has money been borrowed? Has money been borrowed or transferred from the water fund? The next one is how much has been borrowed from the water fund, and how was the use of these funds beneficial to the residents? The third, has property tax or any other positively budgeted and projected funds been received by the village? Number 4, how much has been received? And if I could, may I have specific numbers or as specific as possible? Number 5, what were the distributions? And number 6, specifically, how much has been returned to the water fund?
Is that it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, in regard to the water fund, it was $1 that was voted on, I want to say in April. $1 that was voted on to rescind, to drop the water rate to $6.50. We voted it back in because it would have created a great hardship on the village, and it was needed to keep up. The reason why the dollar was raised is to keep up with the ongoing cost of the water itself, the infrastructure repairs. How much has been transferred from what date to what date? Is that what you're asking for? What's the date? I don't understand. But money has been transferred from the water fund since we've been here. Exactly how much, I don't have those figures in front of me. Has any money been paid back to the water fund? Not since we've been, in this administration has been in, here. I don't know when the last time water money or money was actually transferred back into the water fund. I've been a trustee for 11 years. I have yet to see any time that the water fund was ever reimbursed. But I do know the last count was close to $2 million that was taken out of the water fund. I have never voted on any money being reimbursed to the water fund since the last 11 years I've been trustee. Property taxes, yes, we did get property taxes. As far as how much it is, again, I don't have those figures in front of me, but property taxes do help to pay our bills. And we did get I would say a installment. I would want to say today is Tuesday, I think it was Friday. So how much it was, I'm not sure. And the last question, you said distribution. Were you talking about distribution of what? The water fund or the tax money or what?
Basically, well, since you mentioned the tax money, let's use that, the distribution of the tax money. Because I was referring to any monies that came in.
The distribution of all monies goes into the budget. That's what your budget is for. That's where you get your money from, property taxes. Anything that we get money for is called accounts receivable. That goes into supplying the budget. And the budget, as you know, we passed that a few weeks ago. So any money that comes in, it goes into the distribution of the budget. Okay?
Yes, I'm gonna have to FOIA to get some exact numbers, so.
Okay.
Is there any specific, do you
I mean,
forward to you?
No, when you present a FOIA, you present it to the front desk and make sure that, you know, I mean, I cannot give you, I wish I did have all those answers, but I don't walk around with those type of numbers. But I can tell you this, that any money that comes in goes towards the budget.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else next? Okay.
Hello, Mayor, or trustees.
How you doing, Mr. Meeks?
Clerk. My name is Lester Meeks. I'm president of the Sauk Village Senior Club, the Leisure Timers. We are the oldest club in the village since 1976. We were once had over 100 members. We now stand at 35. We used to meet every Thursday or Tuesday, every second and fourth Wednesday of each month, before Senior Center was closed for reorganization. I was also a member of the Sauk Village Seniors Committee, in charge of the library. When Bernice Brewer became our senior director, I talked to her about the library. I said very few seniors read the paperback books because of the fine print. I told Bernice that we should donate the books to the village library and replace them with larger print. And that's a decision that we made. And one more thing is that I was also on the senior committee, and which is no longer, we have a senior committee no more. So I'd like to know what happened to the money that we had in the senior committee. And thank you for listening to me and hear me out.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, in regards to the senior committee, by the end of this month, I assure you that problem will be addressed and taken care of. Right now it's going. It's ongoing. We're trying to ratify a couple of things. When that process is through, you will be informed, and along with the other seniors that used to be on any other club or any committee. So you will be given notice on that. As far as I'm a senior too. What was the last question? What was the last? Oh, the funds. Okay. That's a good question. I personally, right now, I'll just put it this way, I'm doing a audit to get the money back because I understand the money had a earmark of, in other words, Sauk Village name was on there, on the village of Sauk Village. So if you raise funds with the auspices of using Sauk Village, then guess what? It's Sauk Village. So I'm not gonna tell you, I'm not gonna say anything more, but if it was raised in that pretense and they used that to raise money, then it should go back to Sauk Village. Thank you.
Hi, how are you? My name is Amanda Myrick, and I was trying to find out that they saying that I owe $500 in water bill. Now they came in my home and they changed the new meter, and now the water company is saying that the new meter is raising because it's a brand new meter. And I don't understand it. Just because it's a brand new meter, why do I have to pay $500? Before, they was deducting from my water bill. They was estimating. So now, since they put the new water meter in, they feel they can raise the water because they estimated from my water bill. Is that my problem? Or is it Sauk Village's problem?
That's the only question?
Yeah, and also I got two tickets in the mail. I can barely read these tickets. Now, I think it has something to do with my grass, but I'm not sure. I've never been to the courts or nothing like that, but every time I turn around, I'm getting a ticket in the mail. I don't know why. Because I cut my grass.
Is that it?
Myrick, M-Y-R-I-C-K.
Is that it? Is that the only, those two questions, grass and water bill?
Yeah.
Okay. How long has your water bill been estimated? How long have they been estimating your bill?
I've been out here 8 years.
So the whole 8 years, okay, that could be one of the things. Okay, we have to look into that.
And so now they tell,
I understand what you're saying. They didn't cut your water off, did they?
no, not yet.
Okay, so that's something we have to look into, because it was never read. You didn't read it, they estimated it, correct? So you didn't send a number in or anything like that? Okay, that's something we have to look into. As far as the tickets, you said you can't, how did you get the tickets?
I get the tickets in the mail.
And you didn't?
And they came in my name.
Okay, you're the owner of the house, right?
No. And they never came in my name.
Okay, well, the ticket should go to the landlord, that's all I'm saying.
Exactly.
But I have to, you have to bring it to someone to see it. I can't answer that sight unseen. But you said it's hard to read, so I don't understand that. But you can bring it up to the village and we have to take a look at it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Frank Harvey. I've been told that people have been asking what happened to the library, the books that was going to the library. Bernice told me that the Dixie said she could get rid of the books. And she talked to the library, and the library said that she could bring them by now. When I took them to the library said they didn't have no room for no 3 or 4 million books. I said, it's not that many books. But they said they didn't have no room for all of those books. And the lady told me that they would still get the benefit of the money to dump them into the recycle bin. And that's what I did. Now she took about a box of them, and I had a few hardbacks that she would take the hardbacks because it's easy to get rid of the hardbacks. But the softbacks, she wouldn't take them because it was too hard to get rid of them. So I mean, during the school, I didn't understand why they couldn't just take them and let the school use them as book fair. That wasn't what they wanted. So I'm the one took them to the library. The library told me that they didn't have no room for them. Put them in the dumpsters that they would still get the recycled money credit for per pound. And so that's not Bernice's fault. It's not my fault. It's whoever gave her the authority to get rid of them.
Okay, Ms. Meyer, you say gave who the authority?
Whoever gave her the authority to get rid of them.
I'm not understanding what you're saying. So you say gave who the library authority to get rid of
Whoever
it?
gave Bernice the authority to get rid of the books.
No one gave her authority to get rid of the books. That shit, I mean, they
She
just.
said the next said she could get rid of them.
Oh, okay, well, all right. I'm just glad now, because that was the question, what happened to them, so now I understand what happened. Because I didn't know what had happened, and I'm glad you said that you had taken them up there and you explained what happened. Thank you.
Pat Couch.
Just 1 second, Ms. Cox.
I just wanted to state that I talked to the library about the books. If they were put in boxes, they could have stored them, but they weren't put in boxes. They came individual, like just doing it up, so they weren't boxed. So I just want that clear, that the library would have taken them if they were all boxed up, because they don't have the room for, just loose books. So I just want to clarify that, because I thought the library.
I had some in boxes.
All right.
And the lady didn't want them.
We're not gonna do that, but I just, cause it was asked a couple of weeks ago, what happened to the books? I didn't know, so now I understand. Ms. Cox.
Yes, a week or so ago, you said the senior center is open daily from what hours?
From 9 to 5.
Why was it closed today?
All you had to do was come in and.
I came and knocked on both doors.
No, what I'm saying is, all you had to do was come in, go to the front desk, they open the door.
So you have to let somebody know
Well,
that you're
yes,
going to
I
go
mean,
in there.
unless- okay, today I wasn't here. Usually I'm here every day. I wasn't here, but all you had to do was go.
So it's not open unless you want to let somebody in. When you said it was open 9 to 5, I thought it was open, but I went there, there's a man in there sitting, and I knocked on both doors and he avoided me. So I just wondered why, if it was open 9 to 5, it wasn't open.
You're not gonna let me explain, obviously. I was trying to explain to you, today, we had an emergency in the village. I wasn't here in the village hall. I was dealing with the emergency that was happening in the village. I wasn't here. However, they have instructions. If anybody wants to use it, the senior center, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, they buzz you in. That's it. The reason why it might have been locked now is because they're working on the system. They're working on the system here. That's why you feel it's cold here, it's warm there, because we only have one system working right now. That's what you saw the guys that were in the senior center, that's what they were doing, they were up on the roof. But if you wanted to get in, all you had to do was come across the hallway to the desk and say, I want to go in the senior center. That's all it took. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Jackie Glaze. I've asked several times for the house on the corner of Clyde and Yates to be mowed. The grass, I'm not very tall, but the grass is up to here on me. The kids stand on that corner when school starts. You can't even see the smaller kids. Please, could you get that mowed? Also, my street, Clyde, I would like to get speed bumps on that street, please. It's like Raceway Park from 4:30 on. The weekends are unbearable. They speed down the street. I don't even know how they make the turn onto Yates without tipping their cars over. They don't stop at the stop signs. They just zoom. If I can get something done with that. And that's all I have.
How long have they been speeding up and down Clyde Street? Just happened?
I've lived there 34 years.
Okay, so did you tell anybody else that they needed speed bumps? What was their answer to a speed bump?
We'll look into it.
Well, I'm gonna tell you.
Well, Kevin told me they can't put speed bumps
Oh,
down.
okay, because that's what I was getting ready to tell you. I don't know what they told you, but they cannot put speed bumps in. You tear up our equipment. In the wintertime, when it snows there.
I've seen them in other communities, and it doesn't seem to bother their equipment. So I'm just asking if something
Okay.
can be done.
All right.
We now have a bunch of little kids living on my street now. Somebody's going to get hurt.
And as far as the grass is concerned, they're doing that now as we speak, so we have hired some part-timers, and that's what they're doing, they're going around. I mean, I'll look at to see where Clyde Yates is located, but I'm sure they're one of them.
Even if they just get the parkway done. that
I'm
would be
just
great.
saying, we're doing that, but I'm not gonna promise you that it's gonna be done tomorrow, even the day after, but they are out there mowing the grass down on the areas where no one's living.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, moving on. Board, the bids, as we talked about last week, we only had one bid for the cleaning service. It was called Rejuve Cleaning Services. Did everyone get a chance to look at the contract? Okay. And if there's, are there any questions? Because we will be putting this up for voting next week, and hopefully we can get this started the 1st of September. Pardon me? Village Hall is senior center. I'm sorry, Village Hall is a senior center. Yes, I mean, that's one building. They didn't separate the buildings. So it's the Village Hall, which is part of the senior center, police department, and the Pazel Center. Any other questions? So we will be voting on this next week, and I'll have a contract ready for the gentleman to sign. Hopefully we can get started 1st of September. Yes, sir.
Gaining access. What are the times?
We're gonna have them cleaned during working hours. So it won't be done after. In other words, they won't need a special key or anything like that. It'll be done while someone is here, because they have to get into the offices and things, and I'm not gonna give out keys for that. So we have to come up with a time that someone's gonna be here for them to do that. And that's in this building. And then also with the senior building, I'm sure we have somebody there in the afternoon or whatever, so that'll happen, and then quite naturally the police department. So the times will be when someone is gonna be there. So there won't be any after hours.
And I was saying that because, certain programs, certain things are going on in the community center. But if there's not anything going on, there's no one there. So.
Okay, well then hopefully we can have that done. I mean, let's sit down, and that's a good question, because we'll have to sit down and find out from you. Because if it's during the day, it's not a problem. We got the key, we can get the key to get them in, Now, on the weekends, no, they won't be doing cleaning on the weekends, but then again, I'm sure when you have something, they clean it back for themselves.
Yeah, that's it.
Any other questions? Okay, as I said, next week we will be, that'll be on the agenda, Madam Clerk, to vote on the contract. Also, I just wanted everyone to know that his bid also included supplies and any equipment that he may need. So his bid, if you add it all up, it included supplies. Before we had to buy our own supplies, this is included. All right, Trustee Bernice Brewer, Public Service.
This particular subject we talked about before, and access to village balance is something that we talked out before, that, it's difficult trying to get some documents, when, we get our packet on Friday. We generally can't pull ordinance and stuff to review them. Margaret's working on a lot of her stuff that's locked in her room. Mohan has a lot of files that I can use, especially since I'm working on infrastructure, and I can't get access to his file either. The fire room is locked. I can't get in there to take a look at any of that stuff. So I was wondering, is there an easier way, or can we talk to people? Because we talk to employees, they say, oh, we can get it, but, you know, especially if Mohan's needs some information from Mohan, he said, I'll get it to you 2 or 3 days later. He has never given it to you, that come back and ask you, and then you say you can't get it. So I'd like to know what's the protocol, or how can we get access to village documents that we need to complete whatever we're doing. And that's something that should be on the table. And also the print capability. I talked to Gerald, and he said that it's just a matter of letting us know, you know, what we need to be hooked up to in order to get it print, because it's easier for us. I think, like, say, for instance, the young lady like to ask for the water fund balance, we can go in there and just pull it off for her and just say, you know, that's the balance on the water fund. We don't have to, the data doesn't, we can have read access to the data where it won't be manipulated, and this public information and stuff like that should be available to trustees. And that's just one example, but I can give you a whole bunch of them. But I'm just saying that we need to go back and look at how the village records are accessible to trustees. And
Okay, first of all, I don't understand what you mean by read-only access. That doesn't, if you can pull it on the computer, you can print it. So I don't understand what.
yeah, I wanted to print.
Okay, but then that's not read access only. So, but my question is, if you need something from Mohan, as I stated before, it's 10, 15 minutes. That's, you know, have your questions already, whatever it is, just written down. You can go and ask him for something. If he can't do it right then and there, he does have that down. He can get back with you. You can email it to you or whatever. But to go in there with a long list of things that may take him 45 to an hour to do that every time, he doesn't have that type of freedom to do that, because he's got a lot of other things to take care of.
That's
So,
just one example. I was saying other information.
but I don't understand what you mean by read access and.
Some information you don't have to print. All you have to do is just go in and read what you need.
Is all this what you're talking about directed to me? All these, because you're asking me the question. That's what I'm asking. Is all this directed, this access records and all the other things, senior citizen, all that, is that directed towards me? Is that, because when you put it on the agenda, it's for the board.
I'm talking to the board.
Oh,
You
okay.
asking a question, I'm looking at you.
Okay, no, I'm asking you, can you define read only?
Read only is like if I want some information from a document, I should be able to pull it up and read it.
But if you can pull it up, you can print it.
That's not necessarily true. All depends on how Gerald puts it in.
I don't know what kind of computer you have, but if you can print screen, you don't, all you need to do is hit the button print screen, it will print exactly what's on that screen.
Well, Mr. Mayor, what I'm saying is I don't always need to print the document. All I
Then it's
really
not,
need to
then
do
it's not
is
read,
read
then
it.
it's not read only then. That's what I was asking, it's not read. If you can,
Okay.
if you can print it, it's not read only. And there's some things that if you need, it's not a hard thing. I'm sure Mohan, if you have the questions that he has, and that's why we have a finance committee, if there's something that he can't do, maybe the finance committee can you can talk to them a little bit longer, and because they do meet with Mohan. But to go in there and ask him for everything, every single day for 35, 40 minutes each day on something different, I mean, that's taking his time up, and he has a lot.
Mr. Mayor, I don't go in and ask for mine for 35 or 40 minutes. I'm asking for some documents that I can get everyone to look at. The fire room is locked. The files up there in front are
Why would you need
locked
to
down
go in the fire room? Why would you need to go in the fire room?
because they have documents in there.
Would you
I
know
would like to look at.
would you know what to look for?
I would there have documents in there where I would like to look at. Mohan has documents that I would like to look at, like invoices and stuff. He has the files there that I would like to look at. Trustees have the right to have views
Okay.
of, and I would like to look at them.
Okay.
I'm not asking to keep them, I just want to look at them, and we should be able to have access to those documents.
Yeah, I'm not, did you talk to the board, because you're talking to me, we could have made an appointment, you didn't have to put this on the agenda, but I'm asking, are you talking to the board?
I'm talking to the board. Yes.
Okay.
And I'd like to have access to village documents.
Mr. Mayor.
From Mohan, from whoever else has documents, but I need to have, to take a look at.
How does that relate to public services, if I can ask that?
How does that work? That has,
You have this listed under public services, so
That's
that's
the way
a committee, so that's why I'm asking.
that's the way to go to the agenda. I want to take a look at village records. That has absolutely, that's the way we would pull up the agenda. I said I wanted to take a look at village documents.
So what is it about those documents that you want to see? Why are you after that
They're
information?
village documents, I want to see them.
Just for the heck of it, or is there a reason for it?
They're village documents, I would like to see them.
But you have to have a reason
No,
why
I
you want to see
don't.
them.
No, I don't. According to Sauk Village Code, I can see review any village document.
You can, but you need to go in and say, here, these are the list of things that I want to see. Like I could say, hey, Mohan, here's the things on the accounts payable that I have a question on. What's this invoice? I'd like to see what this invoice is, right? And see how it breaks, like it comes to attorneys as an example, to see what it looks like and how it breaks down. And say, I want to know if they're charging for, FOIAs or something. There's a specific question there.
Trustee, Tupon, since I've been here, I have tried to get, to review at certain village documents. I can't seem to get them. So regardless if I have a list or I just go in there and ask for one particular document, it's always an issue. I would like to look at the document I'm requesting, and there shouldn't be no issue. We have the right to look at village documents.
I got a question for you. Was the document, did you ask a specific person for a specific thing to provide you a specific information, or did you need to know where to go get it?
I asked both ways. I asked where can I go and look for the document, and then I also asked for a copy. At first, I asked for a copy of the document. They said they didn't have it. So I said, well, where can I go and get it? So they directed me to there. So I went there, and the files were locked. This was after hours. So I can't get my hand on the village documents.
Well, normally if I email Mohan or say, hey Mohan, can I have this by Friday next week or whatever? I know normally he could do that. And Sherry, if I have a code question, I've recently had a couple code questions for her, and she provided the information, not right then, but a couple days away. I don't know how of an emergency, that you need the things, but I just don't know exactly what type of accommodations are you looking for.
I'm going to ask for it. I'm going to review it. Simple as that.
One thing, the young lady was talking about her water bill, $500, which is a nice round figure. And you were saying that if you had access, that you could go in and tell what the situation is.
That's not my area. I wasn't trying to respond to something like that.
You didn't mention the lady who had a question about her water bill?
I have to talk about the lady that wanted to know the balance on the water fund.
Oh, okay, my mistake.
Are you through with those two, or are you ready to go on the other one? Are you through with those two? I mean, the only thing I can tell you is this. If you need something during the hours, now after hours, yes, the rooms are locked up. No one has keys, especially the vault room. So that's done on purpose. But if you need something, a specific thing during village hours, by all means. Or if you're not able to come up, ask them to throw it in your box. Make a phone call. Call whoever you think that's involved in it. If it's billing questions, you got two people you can go to. You can go to Mike Barnicki or you can go to Mohan. And you can ask whatever particular question that you have. If you want to document, let them put it in your box. They can take a copy of it and put it in your box. So I don't see where that would be a problem. And you said village records. I'm not understanding what records, but if you need bills, yes, the bills are available, but they need to know which ones. They're not going to flip through and just give you all the bills. They need to know which ones because they file those as they come in. And so if it's something like that, by all means, if you can't make it during hours of 8 and 5 o'clock, then make the phone call. Call and ask to talk to whatever person that you feel that you need to talk to ask them to put a document in your box. That shouldn't be a problem.
I have found Mohan's very responsive. I'm very responsive to emails.
I'm trying to email, I talk to Mohan, I spend time with Mohan. It's not Mohan just per se, I'm just saying, I'm having a difficult time trying to do those records, and I would like to know why. So, to the board, I mean, you guys might have an easy time, but I'm not having, getting the documents that I need. Because especially, give you another example is, I asked for some records for the water consumption for the month of March, so I was to put it in the infrastructure, summary that we were working on. Couldn't get that information.
You said water, you mean how much water
Consumption, yeah.
was used village-wide?
How much they pump.
Yeah.
How much we got paid. Couldn't get that information.
Who did you ask?
I asked Cindy.
Cindy wouldn't have that information, but okay.
She said she had it, she said she couldn't get it.
Okay.
So those are.
I didn't know, okay.
But that's what I was saying, if you put it in email, I mean, you gotta understand, the employees are here to provide a service. If they're not providing a service, keep a paper trail. Emails is a perfect example. You can show the email, bring that back to the board, bring it to the mayor, bring it to the board. Then that's a problem. And then that problem may need to be rectified. But if you don't have any way to keep track of what are you asking for and who you ask for it, we can't never resolve this situation, you know. Just going to everyone and asking, if you're gonna have to keep a trail if you're having an issue. And the best way to do that is through email. If you send an email, you know, then you have every right to get that information, which you do have every right to receive that information. And then if that's a problem, the mayor, go to him, and then if he see that that's a trend, bring it to the board. And then we have to, you know, rectify that situation. But, you know, without any hard copies or any, you know, proof of who you spoke to or what did you ask for, it's kind of hard to, you know, just say, okay, you know, go ahead. And we can't just leave everything open because it's not going to be organized. They're paid to put things in a certain place, and they should be able to retrieve that themselves. For everyone to go in there, when you need to go in there, it won't be there. So, and then that's a lack of accountability. You can't hold anyone accountable if everyone has access to information. If certain information get out that's important, that has personal information on there from some of the villagers, we would never know who put the information out there. So it's best that whoever's in charge of that department that you need is held accountable for that information. Personally, I don't want to go into any file. because I don't want to be responsible. Oh, Trustee Jones was in that file, so that information got out. He could have easily done that. So to protect yourself, you know, I would not go looking through files. I mean, that's just my opinion, but, you know, that's just something, you know, if I was you, I would steer away from that and allow the employees to do the job that they're paid to do.
I'm just not really away from doing anything they're supposed to do. I just need a copy of certain information in order to infrastructure. Some recommendation to give, when we have the committee meeting, to have this information available to whoever's going to be on it. So that means that I can look through some files and see what's there.
Are you through with 1 and 2 of your public service?
Yeah, so I'll just, when I'll put everything in writing.
You should. I mean, that's the best way to do it. This way you have a paper trail, they have a paper trail. If it's not being done, then we can go back on something we can find out.
Fantastic.
Just one.
Emails that go in with emails,
Right.
right? You know, that's why everybody's just like.
That's, okay.
Okay, number senior, you through with 1, right? You through with, okay. Senior center organization,
Okay, I provided you the final on senior center policy. This bank statement where it shows that the account was closed back in May, but nobody has returned any funds. I checked with Oman, and he said he hasn't gotten anything. So
That's a warning.
it was closed back in May. And I talked to the people in charge of the committee before, and they said they're gonna get back to me, but nobody has reached out, so I don't know what's going on with that situation. So, we won't be mindful until anyway.
okay, I just wanted to,
It says US
I-
Bank,
I read it all, but I saw a withdrawal, okay?
they withdraw everything back in May. Account closed.
Okay.
And,
Question. Question. I don't want to say the names out loud if you do know. I'm just saying, you know, do you have names that was on the bank account?
The bank account is made out to Sauk Village Senior Citizen Committee. It's under their name on the business account.
Because you know
But-
you authorize signers to
Right.
work on the account.
I do, yes.
Okay.
Okay, and now, one thing about it is that, it's not on here, is that as I was going through and put the policy and procedures together, I looked for information from, other, senior, groups in nearby towns, and each application that, especially for rental, they had the insurance disclaimer on there. I couldn't get a copy of our insurance disclaimer to include it in this package, so it doesn't have on there, and that's, you suggested, Trustee Jones, so it's not included in the package. So that's something maybe we could look at later, but it should be in there. It should be part of the package.
What is the insurance disclaimer?
You know, what happens if something happens to the building, that should be included.
If something happens to the building?
Building, or it happens to the person in the building, or something like that. Most municipalities, they usually have attachment to the rental policy or something that includes insurance. And a lot of times, it all requires, it all depends on the kind of event they give, and they usually make them buy their insurance, or either they say, well, my insurance is covered this, our insurance is covered under this. So that should be included in any application that's given out on behalf of Sauk Village. The the next, thing, is, I guess we can go through there's a list of, organizations that use the senior center, but nobody pays, everything is free. Now, there have been, before there has been a lot of controversy about who should be using what, and, what I did was broke it down to, the different groups that's using the center, and I'd like your comment on this one, because,
Trustee, excuse me, are you going through this, or are you on the agenda?
on the agenda, I'm sorry.
That's what I'm saying. But you said okay. That's what are you explaining this, the senior center policy and procedures, or are you going what you have on the agenda?
I'm going with what that one did. It is over on that.
But this is you just gave us this. So you going over this now?
That's not in there.
No, but you're saying that there's a list of things that are in here. That's what I'm asking you. Are you going over this now, or are you going what's on the agenda?
That you said you wanted August 15th. That's the day. That's the.
All I was asking, which one are you going over? Which one are you
What I'm
using?
going over right now is the senior center organization makeup.
Okay.
And this is not included in the package.
Okay.
Because I didn't know how to do it, and everybody around here was in disagreement. So I think that we should figure out how we're gonna charge the user, if we're gonna charge them at all. So the first one is a resident who lives here, but the majority of the members live outside the village. They come from Indiana, 75, 80 miles away. The second one is a non-resident, but all their members live here in the village.
I'm sorry, can we talk about the first group we're talking about, the bluegrass group?
I didn't name any names, I'm saying, I'm rather not name any names. I'm just having a rest, okay, I'm just having it up. Okay? The second group is non-residents, all members live in the village. The third group they are residents, but the members are suspected of politics. And I was told not to include anything related to politics in the package. And the fourth one is non-residents, is a combination of residents and non-residents that use the center. And the last one is that organization is they're not residents, and everybody who is using that in their group don't live in the village. So you have a variety of different people here that use the village that charge to the residents, and we don't know how we should deal with that.
Okay, well, I'm trying to figure out what is it that you're trying to say. Are you trying to not include them, or are you trying to make up special rules for them? Or because all these things here are different categories, and we just have to guess which ones you're talking about. But are you trying to come up with special rules? Are you trying to?
No special rules.
So why'd you list them then? I mean, that's my question. Okay, you got residents, majority members live outside the village. What are you trying to say, that they should, their rule is, are they able to be part of the senior center, or not be part of the senior center? That's what my question.
The reason I broke it down like that, because certain people were able to use the senior center when other groups weren't. So
Okay.
we need to put some kind of, not put, but call it the Illinois State statute, whatever. It's either all free or everybody has to pay. Certain people couldn't use the group, and use the center, and that's the days now they tell them they couldn't use the center. And I just didn't know, should we charge them? They told them they had to rent out the center, which I don't think is fair, because everybody else uses the center free. Why couldn't this group use it free? And everybody in that particular group lives in the village.
That's what I was asking. That's what I'm asking. Are you trying to put rules, or this is what you're trying to do, add rules for these different categories?
I'm not adding any rules or anything. I'm asking you guys to discuss it and how we should handle it, because residents are going to get upset when you come in and say, oh, well, you can't use the building, you got to rent it.
But my question is, okay, everything starts brand new. So whatever group comes in, comes in. That's what I'm asking. Are you saying it's going to be different set of money, rules, or whatever for a group that happens to be mostly out of residence? I'm just wondering why you categorize these.
Because that's how the rules were in there.
That's how they were in.
Yeah.
But I'm asking now, is that what you're trying to do, to make a distinction now?
No, I got calls from residents that said they couldn't use the center, that they were told they had to.
That was back then.
No, this is recent.
No, nobody, who called you said they couldn't use it?
I had calls from residents and they said they couldn't use the center because they had to, whoever told them they had to pay.
No, ever since the center opened back up in, what was it, July 1st? It was never anything about pay. Nobody ever told someone they couldn't use
From
it.
9 to 5, if we go
Right.
back to your document, I think we need to talk about what are these groups wanting to use it, because it clearly says here, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., it's open.
Right, so I don't know who.
On the table, how do we do something different is Friday at 6 o'clock until Sunday at midnight, your entertainment hours. Is that when these groups are using it? Because if you're talking about that as entertainment revenue hours, then yeah, we need to talk about what the charges are.
But no one has said anything about anybody since July 1st that could not use the senior center. They had to pay. That was never discussed. I don't like to know who that was that told you that. I appreciate that. Thank you, because that was never an issue. Never an issue. I think Trustee Tate has something to say.
Mr. Mayor, all of these items, these 5 items, I think these things are committee duties. So the committee should tell us what the answers to these are. And then we make a decision based on that. But if the committee hasn't addressed any of these, then why is this board overstepping its boundaries and doing committee work?
This has been added because when I first initially made the draft, these different organizations in there, especially those, and in fact, chapter 30, 35.1 specifically states that if the organization is providing a service to the village, they should have free of charge. But once I wrote up the draft, they told us, oh no outsiders could be even on the board, or even they had to pay, they had to rent. So then I said, okay, I'll just leave that part alone and let you guys decide on who should be paying and who should not be paying.
That is not this board's responsibility.
I know.
That is your committee's responsibility to tell us whether it's going to be $1 or $100.
This is what I'm saying, I said when I initially wrote the draft, it was in there like that. Somebody told me to take it out.
Somebody, please be specific.
The mayor told me to take it out.
The mayor told you to take it out. Okay.
So, now I bring it back to the board, because these different groups are still going to be in the senior center, and I'd like to know how to charge them, or give the committee some kind of direction. I think everybody should be free, but that's my choice, you know, so.
But has your committee submitted something to this board saying everybody should be free?
The committee has agreed that it should be open to all, but that's in discussion, but since the mayor decided that, it should be written to certain people, that certain people couldn't use it, sorry.
I said that some people couldn't use it.
Certain people couldn't use it,
I said that.
yes.
I don't remember ever saying that some people couldn't use it.
Well, that group couldn't use it.
I don't remember telling anybody they couldn't use it. Okay, let me,
Because, yeah, people, and not only should it not be in this document, but no village property should be used for politics. You know,
that part I did say. That I did say, no politics, yes I
It
did.
was in the original document that said we was gonna do a forum like they've been doing for years and stuff. So, this particular group, wanted to have a little bit of work done, and you told me to take it out of there.
Yes, I did.
And
That was
that's
in
what I
that.
did.
Okay, now
So,
let
now
me
we
make,
go back to 3.
let me,
And they
so-
were suspected of being politics, but I don't know what they.
okay, let me explain the reason. Maybe I didn't make myself clear, and I'm gonna try to make myself as clear as I possibly can at this point. the senior center, which is always has had their own committee. We've always put, up until recently, we had a trustee that would be a liaison from the seniors to the board. If the seniors need something, if that committee wants something, they need the village to do whatever, A, B, or C, this particular trustee will come back to the board, as in all other committees, and ask on behalf of the seniors that they need X, Y, and Z. But at no time should a trustee be in charge of the senior center that way, because that's ad hoc. Your committee was public services. This I put, and I asked you to chair that so you could be the liaison for whatever committee that came up with, but they needed a guideline. That's what I'm thinking this was for, a guideline to go by that's voted by the board, that this is something because it is part of the village. So they need a guideline to work on, and it would stay away from the politics or anything else to have anything, because you were right. There was a group that wanted to use it, and what you're talking about is one thing. One thing you're talking about is every 2 years they have a forum. That's different than having around election time, because election time is every year, that they have people or they have someone that can come out and talk about what they want to do or politics. That part, no. Not to have a political forum or whatever over there. The political forum that we had was something that we had here in the village hall that was ran by that particular group at that particular time. But I'm not going to let someone have a political, lack of a better word, rally or whatever, there when they feel that's election time. So what I'm looking for is, and this is what I was hoping, that the board can look over this. If they agree with this, then you can take it back and then elect your officers or council or whatever you want to call it to run that. Not to be ran, because I didn't want a trustee to run the seniors like that, because they're self-contained. And that's why we have the problem we have now as far as with the money, because had things been going on, we would have better control over that. For everyone now to say we don't know what happened to it is not acceptable. Because somebody somewhere is an account, has a name on it. So someone pulled it out. That I will work on. But I don't want something to be a standing or whatever for someone to have their own coalition. That's not what the seniors is about. Seniors, they come in, make it simple. I'm not looking to make all that kind of, I see where they made a pretty decent amount of money. What did they use it on? They didn't give it to the village or anything, but they used village services. So I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for them to be self-contained and raise money to have another event. That's what they use the money for, to have an event. To have activities, to have fundraisers. As I stated before, the fundraisers can take them to the ball game, can take them to outings, rent buses, go downtown. Those are the things that the seniors would like to do. Not to sit up and just raise money for whatever reason. Seniors are supposed to be able to, when you become a senior, that's what you want to do. You want to go places. That's what you have a senior citizen center for. So you can congregate with the people of your own peers, sit back and talk and plan to go on outing. And I had made that clear, and I had said that to you before.
I'm in agreement with you, but the same, same groups that were in there before are going to come back, and they should be free. They should be free to everybody, regardless if they don't.
Who charged them before? I mean, really, who charged?
Still going by the conversation I had with a resident who said that if she had to use the senior center, they told her she had to pay. I'm just going down what I'm told.
Okay, I don't know. I've been on the board for quite a while. I did not know any senior organization had to pay to use that. Now, if you're having an event, you're having a party, or you're renting it out, it goes like anything else. You rent it out. But I didn't know that they were actually paying to meet. I never heard of that. Okay, well, like I said, I wasn't involved with it a lot. I got involved a couple of times when I was asked to come and intervene, but that's a no. I'm not, why would you charge seniors on fixed income to come in and pay? I mean, if they want to have a party, they want to make it exclusive for their party, that's different. Then they fill out an application and they rent the place out.
Well, I think the bluegrass is a perfect example because that is during what we're calling entertainment / revenue hours. And I'm sorry, is it every Sunday?
It's every Sunday from 6 to 10. The reason why, so that can get straight to, the reason why I did that is because at the time we didn't have anything in place. And they wanted to come out and meet. So now, once the rules and regulations get in place, if that's what the senior council wants to do is charge them to come on off hours, that's different. But right now, it's open from 6 to 10 on Sunday for them because they came and asked for it. I haven't seen them. I watch it. I come back on Monday. I have not seen anything where they've torn up anything. Everything's put back in place. Everything is like it was never no one there. Now, quite naturally, if it is, then yes, I'll say something.
And my only concern with the after-hours revenue entertainment hours, which includes the Sunday nights, would be, when you're here during the week, Monday through Friday, the building is open, it's being heated anyway because, we're running the village. Versus these other hours, we have to heat it specifically, we have to light it. Well, I'm sure it's an enjoyable event for everybody there. At the same time, too, should we ask for a small amount to try and offset some of those utilities that we're paying?
Well, okay, if you do, and I can understand that. If you're going to do it that way, I mean, first of all, where are they going to get the money? Now, if they're having a fundraiser and they want to, donate or whatever, I mean, it costs to heat it. You're right. It costs to use the lights. But that's a small cost. I mean, if they're renting it out, then that's a different thing. But if they're having a spaghetti dinner or something to that effect, and they're trying to work towards getting tickets to maybe go to the game, or getting tickets to go on a boat ride down the Navy Pier, or go to the Art Institute, or go to the museum, if they're using it for that, and they can show that, I have no problem with that. Because they're using the house, so they're going to raise money to do those things. So that's what I'm talking about. That's why I said the seniors should, if you're going to do that, if you're going to do something like that, it would have to have a means to an end, not just to just have money in the bank. If you're raising it for something, then it should be a purpose. But I just don't like to see that we're charging seniors. If they're going to have something that's exclusive, then they're renting the center out, like they do the Pazel Center, the same thing, they rent it out. And that's what they're going to do, fine. But if they're having something that's a means to an end, and especially if they're raising the money with Sauk Village's name on it, we need to find that out too.
So, whenever, when it comes in and have an event, and especially when you do it, they have to, we know, the council know that they're, suppose, let's say, for instance, they donate, the people that come to their event is donate.
You have to ask for donation. Nobody's going to walk in there and donate anything. And you have to be asking for donations for whatever reason. Then you should make a reason. Have them make a reason. I mean, not just so I can fill my pocket,
But then it's only on the weekend, like you said.
Well, if it's on the weekend, then yes, then you can ask for that.
So if you're going to grandfather, and I'm sorry, I'm not pick on, well, but then you've got to talk about what you've got right now and how it fits into what you've written here. Because bluegrass as it stands right now doesn't fit into what you've written here. So that's grandfather in.
Well, bluegrass is, like I stated before, bluegrass is there now on Sundays. I mean, until we come up with something, they know it. I've talked to them, and they know that when the rules or whatever, and we pass something, then they know that they have to abide by that.
And I'm not trying to be a Grinch here, guys, but I do know that other people would come in for bluegrass from out of town, too.
Regardless, I understand what you're saying, trustee. But right now, there was nobody there on Sunday. There was nothing. Why not have them come in from 6 to 10? It's on them. If they're raising money to pay for somebody wants to do that, okay, it's 6 to 10. Now, once the rules get written and it gets voted on, then these are the rules. If that's part of the rules, then that's part of the rules. But right now, I didn't see any problem with it.
Question. At what point do we direct our committee's mind, anyone else's committee, also, since we're talking about it, to distinguish when should a program have their own individual insurance?
If you're having something, if you're having something on village property that's not part of the village, then you should have your own insurance, because someone gets hurt, then.
What do you mean not part of the village?
If it's not a village sanctioned event. So if you're having a dance for whatever it is you're having it for, you should have some type of insurance to cover it, just in case somebody gets hurt. But if it's a village sanctioned event, then it's a village sanctioned event.
So
basketball village sanctioned event, because it's given by Parks and Rec.
So bluegrass wouldn't be a village sanctioned event?
No.
So they should have their own insurance?
Yes.
The conversation has kind of circulated around. I'm still back to number 2, where it's still my belief that the senior committee has a responsibility to answer those questions and present them to this board and say, this is what we as members of the senior committee think. Not this is what we're going to do. This is what we think. And then this board can then decide, well, $1 is not enough, $100 is too much, or whatever you're going to do with it. But it still comes from a plan by the senior committee. I do not think, and I will vote that way if I need to, I do not think we need to be overstepping our boundaries and running people's committees. That's why there's a trustee over committees. That is the liaison to us. So we should not overstep the trustee that's in charge of it. For you, Trustee Jones's Parks and Rec, we should not be dictating what kind of rules your committee comes up with. Whatever rules you want to come up with, they then come back to be approved by this board. That's the first thing. The second thing is that I'm not sure what's in this document, which we just received. I'm not sure what's in here. I would take a look at it. Do we need to respond to this document?
Are you submitting this for next week to be voted on? Okay, I didn't know that.
Okay.
Pardon me? No, I know you brought it. The first time I saw it was today, this one. But if you wanted it to be voted on, then you can tell the clerk to have it put on the agenda to be voted on. Okay.
How does this differ from the other document we received?
Well, it's that here. It has everybody's comment in there, including the mayor. It has a table of contents. But it also has the copy of the ordinance 93 as 19 of tax and also it has a copy of the Sauk code that has to be amended in order to adopt this policy.
So, So this document, your committee came up with this document?
No, I came up, according to the mayor, he wanted me to bring, put in policy and procedure, bring it to the trustees, like I did, okay, and then, after you guys take a look at it, I'm supposed to take it to the committee. I'm following the instructions.
Take it to the committee to do what? I'm trying to find out, it seems like things are going in different directions. So this board approves this document, correct?
Yes, and it's only supposed to be used as a framework, and they're gonna amend and put in whatever they need to do, and
They who?
the council, the supervising council.
Okay, so this board approves it, returns it to you, and then you have your senior committee meeting. And then they add something to after what we were. They can't add something if we've approved it. If we've approved it, it has to stand approved. You didn't say that. That's why I'm trying to find out what's your process.
You can amend, they can amend, or add some things in.
They cannot amend it. They can suggest amendments.
Okay, they'll put in their recommendations in.
So then it comes back to the board a second time.
Yes. That's the way the mayor wants it.
Okay. We need to we need to eliminate some of the red tape. We need programs for the seniors, we need programs for all committees, and it needs to be simplified. Do you have your committee together already? Okay, see, I would suggest get the committee together first. And the simple basis is, if you're not there for profit, if you're not making profits, and if you're part of the committee, your committee members have put these programs together, they're part of the senior committee. So I believe that eliminates that pay. Because we're going to keep going around this, and it'll be December, and it'll be January, and there still won't be any programs in the senior committee, in the senior center. So to eliminate that, if you could put your committee together to eliminate, so you can vote, your committee can vote on these ideas that are here, and run it as is going. You create a smaller, get rid of the red tape. Just have basis in there of you don't come here, you can't make money, you're not gambling, you're not doing any politicking. Let's get something rolling. And then your committee put something together and present it to the board.
Trustee Jones, when we first started this, when I first started this group, I had a committee together, and they came up with most ideas in the document I gave you. I gave it to the mayor, and he wanted to change a bunch of things, and he said he's changing it, add his changes in, and then let the trustees sit it and send it back to the committee. A lot of the things that's in that document came from the original, well, the committee the people that I selected. But a couple of times, when the mayor came to the meeting, he said that we couldn't meet because there's no policy and procedures in place. He wanted to see those before we could have a committee. So once I finished drafting that up, I gave it to the mayor, then I gave it to you guys. Now, bring it back to the board to get approval, and then I'm gonna take it to the committee per the mayor's request. Now, you guys are suggesting something else.
But technically, I mean, the committee can't really have anything to do with it if they're not officially a committee. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, so I would try to get the committee first and have them take the open meetings, everything on the internet and everything, and write them in as committee members, and so they can vote and get the policy together. Well, not even, I mean, a lot of the policy is already part of the village, you know, so, I mean, you need programs. I mean, you know, and if someone's ready with the programs, you need to open the doors.
Well, I think when I spoke to the mayor, what he was thinking was looking for something general, and the committee would actually put the different programs together. You know, we have our game one night, and we can establish all that. Well, you wanted all that set up, and then take it to the, after you guys have looked at it, and take it to the committee, and then we'll start doing the programs and all that sort of stuff. So it was the mayor's thing that he wanted you guys to look at it first. So that's why you guys have that.
I know that you received comments from several trustees on the first go-around. Were those incorporated into this?
Everything's in there, yes.
Okay.
So, I mean, should I take it to the committee and then bring it back to the board, or, you know, you want to stand as is? I'm not.
I have one question, because I was at the last meeting. Did you advertise for your senior advisory council?
Yes. I'm set up here.
No, I'm just asking.
Yes.
Because when I sat at the meeting, there was a couple of people that were there that stated that they weren't part of it. Who chose the senior advisory council? Who picked them out? In other words, how did they become?
They was chosen from those who sent in applications.
Who made the
letters of consideration, I shouldn't say application, letters of consideration to hold, to be on the council, and exactly I got 5.
Okay, so I mean, my question is, so of the 5, all 5 are on the council?
Yes.
So then, because that was the reason I asked, because who came up with the officers? I mean, who voted officers in?
Well, initially, we voted officers in, but then we said you can't vote officers in unless we have policy and procedure. So they said, okay, well, we'll just wait till the trustees and you do your thing, and then we'll come back and vote again, and that's what we're waiting on.
Because I would like to see, I'm sure there's more than 5 people in the village that wants to be on the senior
I only got
advisory.
5 letters.
Okay. That's what I was looking, I mean, if it, and, you know, then, so someone asked the question, because it was as you were there, who made the decision that this person was a council member?
I was
Right.
on back. And I do believe I'm supposed to stay for the meeting.
No, who made, that's what I'm asking. So it was you then, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Then you made the selection of who was, okay, that's all I was asking. Okay.
Are they all residents around this council?
Yes, everybody except for the secretary, but I haven't spoken to her yet, so. I've been told, and that's another thing in the original document, I had that, we could have non-residents holding office, but, had to take that out. So, at the time, we had voted in as the secretary, so I haven't talked to her yet, so, she's aware of it, so we might have to go back and revamp that particular portion of it.
So your council is going to be residents?
Everybody's on there as a resident except for the secretary.
Are they all seniors?
Everybody, yeah.
But don't laugh, I'm asking the question.
Yeah.
I mean,
Everybody.
So then it's not all residents?
Everybody on the council is a resident, except the secretary, except for the.
Then they're not all residents.
But we're gonna vote again because they haven't got the policy procedure. Remember you came to the meeting, you said, oh, they can't be council, so we said we'll re-vote, we'll vote over again.
Okay. I'm just, the reason why, that's what I'm saying. Because I know there should be more than 5 people, but you said you got from letters and people that had to submit, I didn't know you had to submit a letter, okay.
I would make a suggestion that you put a flyer together, save it to PDF, send it to the clerk, and ask her to send an email blast out to her distribution list to see if you get any more interest that way. Because generally speaking, it's, talking to whoever might be over there, the people you know, whoever shows up on a Tuesday night. That's a limited audience, and that's a limited audience too, but it's a little bit broader than what your current audience might be. It might give you a little bit more of a response.
Are you making it mandatory that whoever's on the council must be a resident? Excuse me, I'm asking. No. Okay, my request.
I mean, I can change that.
That's what I'm asking. I'm asking a question. No. It's not per my request, because if I made a request, then it wouldn't be an accept.
For your request. Okay.
If-
To the conversation that
Okay,
we had.
and what did I say?
You said that the council members had to be residents.
Okay, so then if I said that, then what was the accept part come in at? Yes.
Okay,
You said everybody except.
except for the secretary.
That's still an accept.
I said this before you said what you did. The secretary was voted in before you came. You came to the very last meeting. We had 2 meetings
Okay,
before that.
so I'm asking now, what criteria are you using for people to be on the council?
I'm using the same criteria for all
Resident.
according to the documents. They have to be resident unless you want me to change.
No, I'm asking, that's what I'm asking. I didn't read all this. I'm asking you. So I'm asking you now, is that what you're gonna put down as a requirement that you have to be? Go ahead and have one meeting at a time.
That's what I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Excuse me. We're trying to meet up here. Excuse me. Are you saying that anyone on the committee, anyone that gets on the committee, that's what I'm asking you. So now going forward, they have to be a resident. Okay.
However,
Okay.
I would like to change that because we talked to you about it, because there are.
I have no problem. I have no problem with that.
There are some people who want to be on the council who have contributed to the old senior committee, who knows a lot of stuff.
Okay.
So we would like them to continue on, but, we're gonna find a way so they won't be voting,
Whoa.
council member.
Wait a minute. How can you be on the council and not be a voting member?
You can be on the council, you can be advisor.
But not be a voting member?
Yes, you can.
Now you're really making it complicated. So therefore,
Well,
I'm on the council, but I can't vote.
You can give advice. You can.
Okay, all right. Is there anything else? We got 1 through 5. Is there anything else? We're not gonna keep going on this one. Is there anything else on that? Are you through with 1 through 5 on the senior center?
Can I just ask a question, because I happen to flip over to a page that has something to do with the original document and where it came from. Training department on page 4 is talking about open meeting act, and it's lifted from something that we all received that said, something about the Illinois Attorney General, that any elected or appointed person has to complete the electronic training. Volunteers who are committee members are not subject to that. It's only those who are appointed to commissions or elected. So, like us and the zoning commission.
Any commissioner?
Yeah, so I don't think that's necessary.
Well, they wanted it, so that's why.
Who is they? You keep saying they. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, you changed the name from senior committee to council because you're going back and forth. I'm trying to figure out. Okay.
They all wanted to train. And it is a good idea, those people.
Okay.
They say they can complete
That it? I have one thing that you may want to consider. On page number 5, you said SAC shall control the disbursement of all funds and control all finances with the senior center.
What page, I'm sorry?
Page 5.
Okay.
SAC shall control the disbursements of all funds. Are they going to have, and all finances associated with the senior center? Are they going to have their own account?
Oh, yeah. I'm hoping for a line item. Don't, if we get this money back, we have a line item.
That's wait a minute. That's why we have. That's why we have this problem now.
Okay. No, the senior center, any money collected by the council should be deposited into Sauk Village funds, and we should be, and the council should be the only ones that use those funds.
That can't happen.
I mean, if we get into the general fund, they.
If you're going to deposit the money under the village has to have control over it. You can't. You have to be bonded and everything else. You can't just use the Sauk Village name and then deposit funds, and the only person that has control over it is senior committee. No. Because what you're doing, just like now, you say they raise money in the account is Village of Sauk Village, senior committee, senior citizens committee, and we can't get any money back. We don't have the money. What happened to that? That shouldn't have been that way. So you're just doing the same thing over. So if it's going to have an account, then it should be somebody there on that account that's affiliated or bonded from the village. So not saying that they cannot be on that account, but you need 2 signatures, and one of those signatures need to be somebody that's either employed or someone that's bonded.
Well, let's be clear, because I think I heard 2 different things, and that's why I want to ask. Are you wanting a separate account with U.S. Bank, or are you wanting a line item that Roseline tracks and can give you transactions and the balance at any time you want to know what it is, and it all flows through the budgeting process?
I'm on the line item.
Okay, so that's not a separate account, outside of,
Yeah.
Shall control disbursements of all funds and control all finances associated with senior center.
What I'm looking for is to have the account be a restricted account and only be used for the senior center. That's one.
That's not a problem. I'm not saying that. But for the senior committee, senior council to have control over disbursements and in receipts, it shouldn't be that.
Well, we have to keep an account of it.
You just got to say you want a line item. So if you need X, Y, and Z, you got it in the account, go to Mohan and tell him I need this. And he can write you a check or whatever.
No, wait a minute.
Why would you need to write your own check?
I don't want to write my own check. I want to be able to go to Mohan and ask him for a check, but I want him not to use our money and not to use money.
It's in a line item. It's in a line item. They can't touch your money. It's a line item.
They use stuff all day long.
So if you don't trust the village, then who you? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out. I mean, if you, but you don't have control over it. That's gone, though, isn't it? So I'm just saying, the money. If you have a line item, then you know what you put in there. Then you know how much is in there.
Well, that doesn't restrict.
No, it doesn't restrict somebody. Yes, they can. They can, but I'm just saying you have a line item.
Okay. So, in other words, the funds that we raise for the senior center will be restricted, only used for the senior center. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying if you need to use the money for whatever, and you have the money in there, Parks and Recs usually, they go and they get reimbursed because they have a line item in the budget.
And the money in the senior center will not be moved somewhere else and used somewhere else.
I'm not gonna sit here and try to tell you that I can't tell you what another person may or may not do. The only thing I can tell you is that you have a line item. If you got $5,000 in there and you need $3,000 for X, Y, and Z, then you get $3,000. Now, I'm hoping that they don't come to you and say, we used your money. But I mean, you know, what can you do? But I don't see that, I don't see where the senior should have total use and not go through the village if you got the village name on it.
Right, so would you like me to take that line out
Yes?
and rephrase it? How would you like me to rephrase it?
You don't have to rephrase it.
Just take it out?
Yes. And you raise money and you turn it in, and you just make sure that, you know, when Parks and Recs turns money, they bring money up here every week. When they turn it in, they get a receipt. They know how much they got in there. They don't, I mean, then I don't think they're worried about it's gonna be gone. I mean, you know. Anything? Okay, we're gonna move on to number 3, strategic plan.
Organization chart. I was talking to, it goes actually with, public service, and, when I asked for something, they said, well, go to this person, when I go to that person, they said, well, go to that person, so I really don't know. What we should be so that's the issue.
So that's what I'm asking. So you asking the trustees because, like I said at the beginning on the onset, was this about coming to my office and making a schedule or?
I think this is something they asked for before, Roger,
Okay.
asked for before.
Okay. I'm sure some of the trustees can explain to you the organizational chart, which I'm sure I thought you knew, but go ahead.
I do too, but, you know, a lot of times those people that don't say you need to come out. So we actually did one.
That's 3, double that. Organizational chart. Pardon me? Oh, it does. Or she said she didn't have nothing for strategic plan.
Oh.
So she just go on the organizational chart.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can we bag up 1 second for clarity? So with the Sauk Village, the policy and procedure, what are we doing with this now? So we're gonna vote on this for.
Yes. After I take out, item on page 5.
Are you talking about the book?
Yeah.
She presented it to you, and I guess she said she wants it on the agenda next week to be voted on.
And I'll take out one item and I'll give it to page 5.
So she wants the board to vote on the policies and procedures.
So I can take it to the,
Okay.
council,
All right.
Get a board first.
and then I'll take it to the council, and then they can put it on.
After it's voted on?
Yes. Yes.
No, I said that, but if you having a meeting this Thursday, correct? Okay. And this Thursday, you're having a meeting with? So are you gonna have any other record? Okay. Yes, sir.
If there's a meeting Thursday of the Senior Advisory Council, and they're going to take a look at this packet, then why are we going to vote on it next week when we don't know what they're going to say? To put it's just backwards. It's absolutely backwards. If they're going to have a meeting Thursday, they should review this packet and insert whatever they want to insert, delete whatever they want to delete, and then we receive a packet with their recommendations. I mean, maybe I'm looking at this from a different perspective.
I think you need to get your counsel. Okay. Have them review it, and then I would say, we gave you our suggestions of what we think should be in here, you know, in the original. So I would say go before the council before we vote on it, and see what they might take things out, add things.
Mr. Mayor, is that,
The reason why she's doing that, and I'm just looking now, is because I asked her to, it's been June, July, August. So I've asked to have this reconciled before September. However, by this being such a hot topic or whatever, I can extend it until the 12th of September. So in other words, everything stays the way it is. The 12th will be the next board meeting in the first board meeting in September. We can vote on it then, because by then I'm sure you'll have all of the whatever suggestions or whatever. But I do ask that you not vote on your chairman and everything until after you get all this in place, but you can still have your council. That's the only thing I ask, that you don't have officers as of yet until you get this, so you can still have the people that want to be on the council, which I'm sure you're going to pull your officers from that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So then because I'm trying to get this done, but I'm not going to rush and do it. We've been out, but the center will still stay open from 9 to 5 every day until we get this ironed out. So the 12th will be the day that we put it on the calendar for the to be voted on. So that gives us, we're not going to have a meeting on the 29th, so that'll give us the 5th. That means you'll have plenty of time over the holiday, because the 4th is the holiday, so that'll give us the 5th to discuss it again and then vote on it on the 12th, okay?
So, when are we going to see?
You're going to see it on the 5th.
So we're going to have a hard copy of this on the 5th?
Well, any changes?
Any changes?
Any changes that she's going to go over?
Actually, it would be nice to see them the Friday before the 5th with our tax.
Well, if she has, if I didn't know this until today, so
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
so if that's up to Trustee Brewer. Okay, well, point well taken. I mean, you know, so I'm just saying that we can have it on the agenda for the committee meeting the first Tuesday, and that'd be the day after Labor Day in September, and then actually vote on it on the 12th. Everybody agreeing to that? Okay, all right. Number 3. Yeah, number 3, other. You don't have anything for that? Right, I'm just saying it was under Trustee Brewer's name, that's what I was asking. Oh, okay, she's present? Okay. Okay. Okay, well then he's not here, so we're gonna go to Trustee Zupan, Public Safety. Okay. Yeah. Okay, Madam Clerk. Your last thing that you, okay, I have 2 separate. Today? So this today? Okay. Really, you cannot do a final the day of or 24 hours in 48. I'm just make, but now if you want to, I mean, it's, we just go, let's, okay. Go ahead, the one that you have, yes. No, the time's not getting late, this is what you
Could you use the microphone? Thank you.
Okay, the first thing I'm going to talk about are the new Unicodes, and what I had changed was the way it was worded. A while back at another meeting, you received a memo that looks like this, and I believe I gave you another copy of it. And that was memo looking at recodifying some of our online ordinances, those from 2013 to the present. And I shared with you how much it would cost. It would be a total of $7,652. I talked with the director, finance director, and he shared with me some line items from which those funds could be drawn in order to make that happen. That's one part that we want to talk about. And then the second part, I also shared with you that this company, Municodes, which is #1 in the nation that provides what the service that they provide, they offered to provide a webinar so that we could actually look at the services that we are paying for, and a lot of what has been asked in terms of classifying the ordinances so that you would know exactly the name and what the ordinance is about, and also if it's been amended. All of that information is already online. It's just we had never been trained in terms of how to access that, how to read that information, but we have it there. And so they are offering to develop a web training for us that would set up this room here so that we could do a webinar so that their staff, which is not in Illinois, can walk us through what we have so that we can all have a very clear understanding of the resources that we already have to our avail. So, I've not seen that. They offered the webinar. And we have the equipment. So, I mean, it is doable. I mean, it would be no different than someone coming and sitting and giving us a 15 or 20-minute presentation. The only thing is, it would be electronic. No, it's free.
You said we have the equipment. What do you mean?
In order to host a webinar, we have the equipment. All that's needed is a computer, a telephone, as well as an LCD projector.
And where did you see that at?
The LCD projector is right under there.
Is it compatible to the...
As I mentioned, we would definitely have to troubleshoot just to make certain.
That's what I'm...
But naturally, before we would conduct the webinar, I would make certain that all of the equipment is functioning and it's compatible. I would want to do a dry run.
And you want this webinar to be for the trustees and who else?
Well, considering that it would be during a committee meeting, I think everyone that's here would benefit from it also, because they have access to the ordinances that's online too. So it would be great for even our residents to be able to know how to access the information. Well, that would be where the ordinances are concerned. The other records, Municodes can't help with that, but with the ordinances, they can. Yes. And this is because you asked for this. So, I mean, I'm responding to your call for assistance, and that's when we started following up, okay? You're more than welcome.
Question, why is $3,000 being charged to elected officials?
I think that that's really a question for the finance director. He is the one that looked at the print, at the lines. He, if not mistaken, and please don't quote me, but that line item has, I guess, a nice amount of monies in it that can be used for this particular initiative.
but the memo's from you, that's why I'm asking you the question, was why $3,000 being taken away from elected officers?
Okay. The paragraph before that says, Finance Director Wu has provided information that the entire cost of recodifying our code book is available in our budget. Then he shared where he would potentially pull the monies from with your approval. Because I used him as a resource to say, do we have funds in the account? And if so, where? That does not constitute that I would know exactly why he decided to pull from one account to the other. I'm sorry, I don't have that information to my purview.
So I do have the budget in front of me.
Could you use the mic, please?
Sorry. So I'm looking at the budget in front of me. Can you hear me now? Okay. And I do see printing under elected officials, $3,000, but I don't see $5,000 under elected officials anywhere. So now I'm looking at the finance and administration, and I see printing does have a higher budget in the neighborhood of $15,000, but I would expect that there are other items that are earmarked for that. So I know this is something we need to do, and obviously are way behind in where we should be with it. But I think the other piece that I'm at least looking at is to say, historically, I think this went with ordinance review possibly, and I'm going to look at the mayor and his experience as a trustee for the last many years, and also to say that I see $4,000 sitting as a line item on their budget for the year, and I don't know if that $4,000 is intended for attorney's fees, or if that some of that could also go towards this codification issue.
The reason, you made a good point. The reason why ordinance review does have a 4,000 because a lot of ordinances that we're changing, or when we change ordinances, not amend, but come up with new ordinances, we do go through the lawyers, and they do charge, so it's not free. So that's for a whole year, which is not a lot of money. And to pull it out of, I mean, that's why they have the budget a little bit higher than anyone else's. And the elected officials is for, what you saw there for printing. I mean, there's a lot of things that come out of that. And I would suggest that you find out from Mohan exactly what it is that he actually pays out of that, because a lot of different things, it's not just one particular item that comes out of elected officials for printing. There's a lot of other things, so I don't know exactly what they are.
Yeah, we did have over $1,200 last year come out of that line item, so there's more than nothing happening.
Trustees, and Mr. Mayor, let me just share something with you. I was asked to look at recodifying because this was something that was generally under the previous village clerk's purview, and that is what I've done. I've gone to the drawing board, I brought back the information. I think I've done the research that was necessary on my end. I think that I'm providing you the information that you asked for. I would think that you would look at the recommendations, you would vote, and then you would decide where you want the funds to come from. I have no control over funds, how they're allocated, and how they're distributed. I'm giving you the information that you asked for, but I do have one more recommendation, and that is not to ever let the codifications go so long, because then it will not be this costly. If we were to do this at least quarterly, then pulling 5,000 here and 3,000 there would be a moot point. So those are my recommendations, and I just ask that you advise what direction you would like to see me go further. But I am answering your call, but I can't direct funds.
I do have one other question. On a go-forward basis, what's the charge for this? So we know it's 7,600 odd to get us caught up to be current. What is it going forward?
Well, I do not know that simply because if you look at the very last paragraph, that's where I was asking that the updates be on a more timely basis. And no, I did not ask how much would it be if it was done quarterly, but I can do that if you would want that.
Yes, please.
Okay, Madam Clerk, I just want to say two things. One, thank you for doing your due diligence as you just stated. And it's not that they were, and I'm going to just say this hopefully in not a derogatory way, but it's not that the trustee was trying to criticize. She was just trying to figure out where the money was coming, as all trustees are going to be asking where the money coming from. Yes, you're absolutely right. This should have been done years ago. I don't even know if you know when the last time it was actually codified. 2012, so then you're talking about 5 years ago. So in 5 years, this is what it costs. So it has to be done. This was brought to the board last time, and I don't know. No, I went to the meeting. I was the only trustee that went to the meeting to talk to the people that were going to do that, and nobody else showed up. So this is something that needs to be done, and like I stated before, I'm glad that you went out and did due diligence. They just want to make sure that when we pull the money up, that we do pull the money, we're not taking it away in such a way that we can't do whatever. So that's something that the trustees would have to go and probably ask Mohan and say, okay, how much will this really hurt? How much will this really hurt, and exactly what it is. And as trustee Zupan just stated that last year we used something like 1,200, so I'm going to see a whole big problem. So.
Are you interested in the webinar?
I have no problem. I mean, if there's information, there's information. Just schedule it for a committee meeting. Okay. And you said 20 minutes. We've been here for 2 hours, so yeah, it'll be fine. Yeah.
Shall I try for September 5th?
I think you're going to have enough on your plate on September 5th.
Okay, so then it'll be maybe the third Tuesday of September?
That would be something nice to do right before we go with the IML. Okay. 19th would be fine.
19th?
Yeah. That'll be something. Because, I mean, it's September 5th, I see that we're going to be a little busy.
Okay.
The 19th, and yeah.
That's fine, I'll do that. I'll communicate with them. You mentioned IML. That's the next thing that I wanted to talk about. And I provided a couple of things, and especially for some of us newbies, I provided a FAQ, frequently asked questions, dealing with the annual conference. The information that I'm talking about now is in the Manila folder that I provided for you. And then I went online also, and I found a copy of all of their sessions so that you can begin looking at them. I was not able to see where you had an opportunity to choose which sessions that you wanted to go to. Mr. Mayor showed me on his phone that he has an app, and I was able to download the app on mine as well, but then when I went to sessions, they had not populated it yet, so they're not there. So I think this hard copy right now will serve you. Okay? We had shirts out by your area for quite a while, and I received some feedback in terms of shirts that you would like. So what you have here are the two that got the most, not votes, but it seemed like it was the most interest. I have them in the men's as well as the ladies. You have a dress shirt as well as polos. You see all of the colors, The price includes the embroidery as well as the extra $35 that they were charging. Second sheet is an order form that I would ask that you decide what color you want. The item number, if it was male or female, the quantity that you want, and the price, and then total it, and the check will be made out to the Village of Sauk Village, and we will purchase it that way. Know that for each item, we have to order a minimum of 6 for it to be that price. If we order more than that, it's less. So, I mean, anyone can place this or can order if they are interested. But this definitely includes the embroidery as well. In terms of your IML registration, you have all been registered for the conference, and you each have a hotel room. I have your confirmation numbers for each. If you want them now, I'll gladly share it with you, or if you would rather that I wait and put it together in one packet for you as you get ready to make your travel arrangements and your itineraries and everything, I would be more than happy to do that for you as well. The last thing in that folder, you see 3 restaurants, and it's not just because I love food, but I do love food, and I love fellowshipping. And the mayor and I talked, and he said that it's typical that you would usually go to dinner on that Thursday as an opportunity just to, you know, chew the fat as you're eating or whatever. So I looked at a few restaurants that are not too far from the Hilton, and those were the 3 that were favorably rated. I know the mayor also mentioned that a lot of times you all like pizza, so I made certain that a pizza location was one of the ones that were available. I know that some of your plans have changed, and you have told me that your plans have changed in terms of your availability to be at IML for the duration, but I'm going to ask that you please put it in writing, because just like the mayor said a little earlier, he's getting a little older, and I am too, and I just can't remember it all, so it works real good if it's in writing. And the last one, I'm going to just ask you to look at that. We can talk about that another time. It's not on the agenda. It wasn't on the previous agenda, so I will not talk about it now, but there is an opportunity for us to do a property tax appeal form for this area. And that concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Is there a deadline for the shirts?
No, they can generally do a turnaround within a 7-day period.
No, I'm talking about for...
Oh, for people to give me. I hadn't thought of a deadline. You think we need one?
I mean, if you're gonna have the money to, you don't want to, you said what, 6, has to be a minimum of 6?
Per style, so it could be any colors,
Right, but I mean, but
whatever.
you want everybody to, you know.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what.
So today is the 15th. I mean, the shirts had been out there for quite a while, so I would say if you could give me your order form by Monday the 21st, I think that would be fine. And then know that those shirts that were out there, those were samples. If any of you want any of them, you are more than welcome to have them. I got them in various sizes and colors, so
Mine won't fit.
hopefully, I mean, you know, you're welcome to it.
Is there an expectation that we're gonna all wear these?
I don't think she'll have them ready by IML. I don't think.
I think that they could be ready for IML. The expectation is not necessarily to have them by then, but if we had them, especially the dress shirts, that would be nice. I think a lot of times when we go to a lot of meetings, we see other municipalities with their shirts on that are, you know, representative of their village, and it's usually quite impressive.
Okay. Thank you. We can't discuss that because it wasn't on the agenda correctly. At this point, I don't, do you have any comments from the, No, okay, well, we always take comments. That's something we should become part of. I'll start with Trustee Todd. You have any comments, questions? Trustee Jones. Trustee Tate.
Mr. Mayor, I hope we will have an executive session earlier on because I wanted the residents to get a chance to look at the blanket throws. And while we were in executive session, we wouldn't be in their way. And they could take a look at the throws that were brought in and touch them and all that good stuff. But we didn't have an executive session. So take a few moments if you can before you leave. Take a look at the blankets and throws. Those are the ones that are going to be raffled off, some of the ones. Now, we came up with a strange situation in that the Coast Guard and the POW material was not available at the time. So what we did, we substituted the police and fire, and that's what you're seeing the canisters over there. We took the POW and the Coast Guard and we changed it to fire and the police. Those throws will be available for you in lieu of the other two. So if you decide you want to contribute for one or the other, you can also do that whenever you see fit. The raffle will be on the 16th next month. 20, someone had long arms, 20 arm's length tickets for $10. So they're still available, and you can choose whichever one you want to raffle for, all of them, some of them, one of them. I had an individual says he's a Marine Corps brat, so we know where his tickets are going. They're gonna, unfortunately, go to the Marine Corps. But anyway, so the tickets are still $1 per ticket, 20 tickets for $10. It's for the raffle. The raffle is about the flags, which we talked about a couple of months ago. So that's why you see those out there. I received 2 sets of comments, suggestions on the resident handbook. One for Trustee Todd and one from Trustee Zupan, and I appreciate them giving some feedback to the resident information handbook. And I'm going to say these comments in general so that everyone will know. One of the comments was the handbook should contain the schedule of the garbage pickup and recycle pickup. And the reason that we did not put that in there is because each neighborhood has a different day and different schedule, especially for the recycles. So we're going to ask, we'll put a caveat in there that the residents should contact Skyline, Republic, instead of saying Skyline, should contact Republic and find out for their individual area when the garbage pickup and when the recycle pickups will be. So we'll put a statement in the resident handbook that says to contact the disposable company. We needed to, the trustees' names were not listed next to your committees, so we're doing that. The layout should be portrait, and this is the layout that we chose. As you recall, in the previous handbook, it contained an Indian headdress. I'm not sure why. Faceless Indian headdress. We decided to take that off, and we decided to make it more presentable, which is why we chose to do landscape on the handbook. It still contains I think these are called spines. It still contains those, which makes it easier for the residents to flip through instead of stapled, because the previous was stapled and sometimes they came loose. Not saying that these will not, but that's why it's designed this way. The comment was made about adding the water turn on and turn shut off hours for business and after hours, the fee that's applicable to those. And either last year or a couple of years, we passed what the amounts of fees would be. But we're gonna put those in so the residents will know that if it's business hours, it costs X dollars. If it's after business hours, it's X dollars. And that's because of we were told the number of employees that it takes to turn it back on as opposed to the shut off. But anyway, we're gonna include the fees for business hours and after hours for the water shut-offs. A comment was made about the senior committee should be shown under other committees. We did not want to single the senior committee out and split them away from the other committees because they're definitely important. So we are not going to change and put them on an island by themselves. We're going to keep it where all committees are the same. Comment was made about the sirens, and we frequently hear the sirens. Some of us hear the sirens that are sounded off. We're going to include the information in the handbook about the sirens, what each siren means, the days of the week, and that type of thing. So when residents come forth or come into the village, they still know what the sirens hopefully mean, or they have a resource to find out what they mean. A comment was made about we call it EMA, that's the Emergency Management Agency. Some people still refer to them as ESDA. So we just want to make sure that I guess it's still interchangeable. If you always said ESDA, you're going to continue to say ESDA. You're not going to say EMA, but that's their official name, is EMA. So even if you see their vehicles, they have it on the side of their vehicles. So that's why we're going to clarify that it's EMA as opposed to ESDA. We're going to add information about District 194. We often talk about District 168, which is here in Sauk Village. But in one of our subdivisions, the students attend District 194. And many people may or may not know how to contact District 194. So we're going to include them in this document, say District 194, this is their address, this is their telephone number. That's going to be placed in there. Comment was about whether all 3 wells are operational right now. Right now, this minute, as we sit here, they are. That does not mean they will always be. So we still will make a comment about having 3 wells in Sauk Village so that the resident will know how many wells should be in operation. We're discussing a description of the water system, and we didn't know how much of that we can put into the handbook. But of course, the resident will know that Director Well is in charge of Public Works, so if they have specific questions about the water system, how it works, and that good stuff, they can contact Director Weller and get the information, and more detailed information, even though we would try to put something that talks about the water systems into the handbook. Question was raised about splitting out public service in the senior committee, which I think is now the Senior Advisory Council. I'm not sure we're going to keep up with all the name changes, but because those 2 committees are listed as one trustee assigned to those 2 committees, as some of us have 2 committees, we did not want to split them out and separate and confuse people as to one committee reports to one person but not anyone else. So we want to keep it consolidated so that they know if they have questions about one committee or the other, who the trustee is responsible for it. There was a comment about the senior citizens having 3 groups. We're going to just put a comment in there about contacting the senior committees to find out the details. The residents will need to contact the senior committee anyway to figure out what they can and cannot do and should not do in the senior center. So we're going to put some kind of comment in there that they should, instead of saying that 3 groups, there may end up being 10 groups one day. But we were going to just put a general comment in about the number of groups in the senior center. The fence regulations, that has gone up and down, and it's enforceable in some parts of the village. It's not enforceable in other parts of the village. Some parts of the village, you cannot have a fence on the front of your house. On some sections of the village, it's okay to have it. So I'm not sure what we're going to do or say regarding fencing, except they should probably contact code enforcement. So we'll put a comment about contacting code enforcement if you have a question about fencing around your home. And that way they can get it first-hand information. There's also an ordinance about storage of your trash receptacles. They should be, the last one I read said it should be at the rear of the house. That's being interpreted being on the side of your house to the rear of it. Others have said that means the backyard. It should be back there. Again, this is like the fence. We're going to put a statement in there that contact code enforcement and find out what the standards are. And we're not going to get involved in dictating that code enforcement changes all of these rules that are been on the books for probably centuries. But there'll be a caveat in there that you should contact code enforcement if you have any questions about fencing, sheds, garbage cans, or any of those other things that come up. Code enforcement is the best authority in Sauk Village. Mr. Mayor, we utilize a number of the directors and employees in Sauk Village to try to put information together for this, and I want to just say I appreciate them being available to us so that we can try to give the residents the best information that we have so they can make the best decisions that they can make. So again, Trustees Todd and Zupan, thank you very much for your comments for the handbook, and we're going to be incorporating those, and what you receive again, it won't look this nice. You're going to receive a stapled copy of the resident handbook with all these changes in it for you to see and review and hopefully vote and approve, and then we can start producing the resident handbook. One final thing along those lines is that we were told that CMS, I think the name of it is Central Management Service, where we can get a discount on all stationery type items, staples, paper clips, whatever. We were told they're no longer in existence. Right. But we received a list of items that we could purchase. However, on that list, there was nothing about copy paper, and copy paper is used by the village excessively. So there needs to be something added to that list about copy paper and how much it costs and all this other good stuff. Because we're going to be making quite a few copies. The final item is that we've already produce one of these in the manner in which we want it to be presented. But things like the spines, I hope I'm calling this correctly. The spines for these documents and the paper for these documents are something that need to be purchased separately so we can produce them. So I will submit through channels what we need in order to start producing them. I hoped we would get this done while we had the students here. It would have helped us out a lot. But the students are no longer here. But still, if the village decided to go with the community services project that was presented over a year ago, the students at Bloom Trail need community service hours as part of the graduation requirement. So I would like to revisit that and see where we go with it, and maybe that's where we can get our students to help out with producing the handbook for the residents. That's all I have.
Okay, I just wanted to say, from 3:30 to 5, pretty soon we're going to be getting students that are going to be coming here in the village. So that'll be something that's going to be paid for by Bloom Township. So when that program starts, that'll be every day, Monday through Friday, from 3:30 to 5, after they get out of school. So that's something that, yeah.
That's something we can
right.
definitely need, and I heard that the students that were used before a few weeks ago were real helpful too.
They were great.
To doing things here in the village. So I'm hoping that we receive the same.
I don't know if we get the same ones back, but the students that were there, as a couple of the trustees stated and the village clerk stated, they were awesome. They did a great job.
We'll take whatever we can get. That's all I have.
Trustee Zupan.
I did have a question or a comment, probably two comments, on the feedback relative to the garbage pickup. I think my point was to make sure that residents know that recycling is every other week versus every week.
So it wasn't for the garbage pickup itself?
No.
Oh. All right, thank you.
So just incorporate that feedback in however you want to, but my point was just to let people know that you can't put a can out every week with the other week. The other thing too was just wherever possible, include websites for the school districts and whatever other organizations, the public, so that people can see, oh, here's a link to their website, so, if I want more information, I can work it out.
See, and one thing that we had a resident to mention a couple of weeks ago about they weren't picking up his trash, and then someone said, you're probably placing your trash in the recyclable bin where they're not going to pick it up. It's going to be left there. So I don't want to get into that detail. They should call Republic directly and say, what do we do with these two blue cans? They look the same to me, and find out how to do the best thing that they can do. But thank you very much.
Trustee Zupan, you. Okay, that's it?
That's all.
That's it for you, Trustee Zupan?
No,
Oh.
I did have one other comment. I started to bring it up at the earlier meeting, but it wasn't on the agenda, so I'll mention it here and then say nothing else. Other than, I know there was a pack for tonight's meeting in my box yesterday morning. When I came to pick it up, it, along with something else that someone had put in my box, was gone. So I'm not sure who felt the need to take things out of my box and not return them,
Thank you. And you said it was gone this morning? Oh, it was gone yesterday? Okay. All right, we can research that. Trustee Brewer.
And I have a couple of things. There's a great idea with the village purpose recommending for access to village records. There's no reason in this day and age where a resident can't come in and find out what the water balance is. That's public information and stuff we should use. You also, they should know how many fire hydrant, if the fire hydrant in their particular area is out. That's something that should be readily available to them. How many vacant homes, who owns the vacant homes next to them and stuff, that's something they should be able to look at. And also, water main breaks. You know, we just had one with Deer Creek and,
It wasn't in Deer Creek, it was,
no, it affected Deer Creek.
it affected everything on the other side of 394.
That's
It
something
affected
that-
the industrial park, it affected Windpack, it affected minority, everything on the other side of 394 is affected.
Well, that, my point is being that there's something, these are things that should be ready, it's public information, should be readily available to residents. Put on, was it, on the disease mind way to get it out there. Give us the information, you know, so we're working on accessibility, transparency, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, okay.
But you have to sign up for the website.
Yeah, so that's a start, yeah, that's a start. Okay. But, my next thing is that I requested that the TIF attorneys come down and give us a briefing on, how we use TIFs or what TIFs are supposed to be used. The attorney staff.
We don't have a TIF attorney.
The attorney who's responsible for the TIF is Mary,
Mary's not an attorney.
what is she?
She's a consultant, a financial consultant.
And she's not, and she's been doing it for a while. Trying to reach out to her for a while, so we need to.
I'm not understanding what you're saying. You want her to come and give a presentation?
On the tip, yes.
I mean, what is it that you want her to do? That's what I'm asking, because,
Everybody needs an overall on the tips on what we do with them.
no,
How
listen.
much it is in the tip.
Okay.
Reserves, you know, all that sort of stuff. That's
What I'm trying to say is, when she comes out here, that's $165 an hour. Now, as far as what you can do with the TIF, virtually on the TIF, some of the TIFs you can't do anything other than collect your administration fee. So you want her to come out here and explain that to you, fine, I can do that, that's not a problem. But as far as what you can do with the TIF, you can't do anything with TIF money, other than what is legally that we can use for administration fee. Can we borrow from the TIF? No. Can we use it for anything other than TIF? No. Can you actually use the TIF within the TIF, depending on what it is that you want to use it for? So right now, that's the reason why you have TIFs, and the reason why people come out is so they can control their money in the TIF for what they need to use it for. But if you want her to come out, just let me know. I'll ask the rest of the board if you want her to come out and explain that, because when she comes out, she does get paid. Okay, so I just let you know that there'll be a cost to that. Okay. It's not hard to get Mary Thompson out. Go ahead. What's that? What else is there? Who? No, I didn't make a comment. Anybody said what's next?
Okay, the infrastructure data, and it's put it all together. Senior Center is going to have a meeting Thursday at 5 o'clock. And, as you see now, they're bringing the procedures back up, and we're going to talk about it. And, those were donated to the library, as told you, you guys before. And we're going to get in, books with the library. But I just want to remind people that the senior center is not a library. So we're not going to have all those books like we have, but we will have
Okay, I do have a question. Could you come up with, remember I asked you about the different phases, how the funding is going to be determined to continue to go towards Lake Michigan water? How are the phases going to be funded and where are we going to get the funding from? Those are some of the things that I've been asked and we need to find out. I don't know what phase we're at right now, probably phase 1 because we're still trying to make sure that we get the water main breaks taken care of. But when it comes to actually acquiring land, when it comes to actually getting to the second phase, which will make sure that we have the piping, we have everything we need to do, because I was just looking at some things today, because as I stated, I wasn't here in the village, at Village Hall today, because I was out on the water main break. But we have only one access to the other side of 394 going west. If we're ever to get Lake Michigan water from whoever we get it from, a requirement is going to be made to loop. Right now, looping is about $3 million. So I'm just asking that those things, I'm just putting that out there, those things need to be taken care of in order to get that Lake Michigan, well, those are one of the requirements. So I'm just asking that, I'm not asking you to come up with it now, but those are some of the things that should be coming back to the board, to let the board and to let the residents know, sooner or later, if this is going to happen, this is what it's going to cost, and I need some real figures.
Phase 1 is completed, all except for paying the loan back. Phase 1 is completed. We're in phase 2. Okay, in phase 2, and I talked about some things there, there's 12 different parts too. So what we're trying to come up with is everything that needs to be done in that particular, like phase A, just say phase A. We have identified in phase A the area that we want to work on and how much it will cost. But we're trying to put in like the fire hydrants and the street lights and everything else, all this thing.
What's that the street light has to do with Lake Michigan water?
What if we Lake Michigan water got fixed infrastructure first? We have to leave Lake Michigan water is phase 3. We're working on phase 2.
What does Lake Michigan water have to do again with the lighting? Because when you
phase 2 is the infrastructure repairs that we have to do in order to
okay.
phase 3, which is Lake Michigan
Water
water.
infrastructure.
So right now we're working on phase 2.
Okay.
And that's infrastructure repair.
Okay.
That includes the piping, and what we're trying to do is make sure we get like the street lights and everything in there because we talk about infrastructure.
You still have, trustee, I'm not gonna go back and forth, but I don't see what lighting has to do with getting Lake Michigan water. I mean, because you have lighting. If the lights go out for whatever reason, that's gonna be taken care of. But if you're talking about adding more lights,
In addition to getting infrastructure like the piping place, we want to add in.
so you wanna add more lights.
And we want to look at these street lights, get the street lights fixed, the hydrants fixed in that particular area. We looked at different areas, the infrastructure that needs to be fixed in that particular area. And that might include street lights, that might include fire hydrants, that might include gamma things. In that particular phase of the contract, phase A, this area needs this, fire hydrants, this many, curb repairs. We doing these kind of things.
Is this a money off board to you?
I'm just trying to figure out what does that have to do with getting Lake Michigan water, curb cuts and things like that.
Is this for Robson? This is for Robson?
So this is their recommendation,
To get Lake Michigan water infrastructure.
Okay. I don't know what curb cuts have to do with it or lighting. Because, I mean, those are infrastructure repairs that are ongoing. That has nothing to do with what I was talking about. Lighting, yes, that's ongoing. Lights go out every day. Yes, it is. Curb cuts, that's done with IDOT and MFT money. And whatever CDBG, whenever they decide to give us some money, that's what that's for, to repair the streets. Once you repair the streets, quite naturally, we try to do some of the curb cuts that we need to. As far as fire hydrant repairs is ongoing. It has nothing to do with getting Lake Michigan water. They won't give us allocation based on our fire hydrant. They give us allocation based on our water main or water leaks, or if we qualify. One of the qualifications, as I stated, is we have to have a loop that can go in one way and out the other way. Right now, the village does not have a loop. That will be one of the things whoever we decide to go to will have, so they can isolate just in case, and that's a good thing for us, because if not, we can't isolate and that meter steadily going. The steadily feed, steadily going until we can get out there and dig it up and do whatever. Today that water main break was this morning. By the time they fixed it or cut it off, it was 3.5 hours later, by the time they dug 28 feet down. Luckily, but I'm just saying, but they dug 28 feet down so they can cut and turn that valve and get it stopped. So, and they lost 500,000 gallons. So if we're buying water from somebody, 500,000 gallons, just think about it. So that's why you have to have a loop. So those are some of the things that I'm looking to come from the committee, so you can bring it to the board and say, okay, we have to work toward, this is what we have to get. This is why we got to raise the money. This is where's the money coming from and how is it going to be addressed. Those are the things. Lighting is nice, yes we do. Fire hydrant, yes, we got to have that. Those things we have to have if we don't get Lake Michigan water tomorrow. We still have to take care of those things.
Phase, for example, phase 3 identifies Astor and street wing. They identified 6 fire hydrants over there. They would like to replace.
Okay.
They put in the.
But that has nothing to do with Lake Michigan water though.
Phase 2 has. Phase 2 is infrastructure repair, and with the 6 fire hydrants in phase 2, they want to be able to repair those before they move on to the next section. And that includes infrastructure that it'll be already in place for if we ever get things from water.
You said if.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, is that it?
It's in the works.
No, I just said it. Is that it? Okay.
Just one question. Is the village, do you have the village quartered off or divided off? Keep saying this section.
We have 12 different sections in phase 2. They have already identified what's happening within the
Will we receive that? Oh, okay.
All right. That's it, trustee?
So do you have a committee meeting yet? I would say you're making a lot of work for yourself. If you had a committee, all that, you know.
So once we get it together there, we get it together, we send it back to Kevin and Jim Cernak and they say, yeah, okay. But it's gonna be, there's no time on it. It's got 12 places that we have to go over.
Did you say there's no time limit? I want you, when the people start asking about it, I hope you at the meeting. I hope you sit at the meeting when they ask you about it. Okay. Okay, trustee, okay. The last thing, I just wanted to say that I see it's kind of thinned out now, but we're looking for volunteers for the corner dog roast. We're looking for people to help with the cooking, help with the other aspects. Okay, aspects. Good enough. And to make this a success, I don't know, I think he may have a cook-off this time between corn and hot dogs, Chicago hot dogs, but we're still looking for people to help out with that. So before, you know, it comes, it's going to be September 16th, so please put that on your calendars. And At this point, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. It was moved by trustee Zupan, second by trustee Todd. All in favor? Motion carried. Thank you so much for being so